calling all misfits, rebels, leaders, and teachers, welcome to the one place where the only way to fit in is by standing out, where big goals are met with even bigger action, and where we talk through then tackle all things entrepreneurship. I'm your host, Kelsey Knudsen, and this is the Get Shit Done podcast. Welcome to the revolution. KPIs are also known as key performance indicators. I think it's something that we either avoid altogether because we're afraid what the data is going to tell us, or we track a bunch of shit because someone on the internet said we should, and we don't really know what to do with that information. And I encourage you to be somewhere in the middle. I think KPIs can help drive decisions as a business owner. It can help lead to clarity with your team so they know what's expected of them. It can help you as a business owner know when to invest in that coach. Drop that platform you guys are posting on. Make changes, completely revamp an offer, keep an offer. All of those things can be decided because of what you're tracking in KPIs. And fun fact, they cannot be done just one time and looked at one time. It's the story that it tells us over time. So today we're talking all things KPIs. I'm going to give you an overview of what they are. I'm going to tell you if I were a business owner, here's like the for sure ones I want to track. And then I want to encourage you to get a little creative and start to craft some for you to ultimately make more decisions that lead to more revenue generating and fulfilling activities in your business. So let's jump on in. KPIs, key performance indicators. Here's what I am for sure tracking. I like to break it down into 3 areas. I'm for sure tracking financial things. I am for sure tracking operational things. And I am for sure tracking marketing things. And I think that applies to every kind of business, every industry, every niche. From there, we're going to start on the finance side of the house because I think this one is very informative. Some would argue it's not sexy, but I think it's super, super important. So if I am new to the KPI world, I'm like just tuning in for the first time. But if I'm new to KPIs, here's for sure what I'm looking at. I am tracking my revenue. I'm looking at how much money came in the door in my business. I am for sure tracking my costs. This is just a financial snapshot of cash in and cash out with a little bit of parameter to know what it went to. So the bucket of cost in my world, in this conversation, is everything besides people and taxes. So those 2 things are separate buckets I'll get to in a second, but I am for sure tracking the cost of my business. And that can be everything from if you pay a monthly rent to your cell phone bill, to that one coffee you got with a client, like all the cash that went out for the business, I am tracking in this conversation. Then I am tracking taxes, and that can be taxes you actually paid in the month. Maybe you have sales tax in your business. Maybe you have B&O in the state that you were in. So the actual like check that went to Mr. Taxman, or it could also be if you were in the routine of budgeting for your taxes each month, maybe a percentage of your revenue goes to taxes and you have that in a bucket. Then I'm counting the people side of the equation. I think it's important as a business owner to track how much you pay yourself. I know, shocking. But here's the thing, like odds are you probably have some personal goals that you're aiming towards. Pause this and please go decide what you are doing. What is your personal goal? What is your salary goal? What are your financial goals? Do you have debt you're trying to pay off? Are you trying to go on a vacation? Are you trying to invest more money, retire early? Have some sort of direction personally that you are headed, because your business can be a vehicle for that. And I know there's different seasons. I know there's times where you're just getting started and you don't have that quote unquote luxury. Still set the bar, even if the bar is like, gosh, I would be so happy if I could just pay myself consistently. Let's get specific. What is consistent? What is that dollar amount? How often? What does that mean to you? And the more clear we are on that, then it can ensure we're setting the business up to support that need. So when it comes to calculating how much you're paying yourself, I just encourage you to really determine and establish and strategize what that number is and should be. Because if you're just willy-nilly, okay, Monopoly money, $100 came in, $50 goes to just running the business, $20 goes to taxes, $10 goes over here to my contractor, guess what? That leaves $0 for you. And if you're running your business like that, things are never going to change for your personal financial situation. I encourage you, set those personal financial goals, then do the math to figure out what the business needs to bring in to support those goals. And that can be so informative because the question becomes, am I overspending in my business Or am I underselling? Do I need to sell more? Or do we need to spend less to support what that personal financial goal needs to be? And that can be so freeing, because if you're constantly, gosh, I really would love to make $500 more per paycheck personally as the CEO of my company. Okay, great. Where's that money coming from? And if it does not exist in the bucket of revenue, if you're squeezing all that out for costs, taxes, and contractors, guess what, my friend? Either you can go sell more than 500 because you will pay taxes on that money, or you can look at where your costs are and start to make some cuts that then come back to paying you more. I think we get stuck in this, I'm just reinvesting in the business mode. But what it really is, like, we're avoiding the personal stuff because we don't feel like we're worthy of it. Or just establish what it is so we're clear and we can make decisions that support that. So once we calculate how much we pay ourselves, then we look at the team side of things. And team in Kelsey speak includes everyone from W-2 employees to contractors. Any human you give money to is calculated on the team side of things. And I think that this is also important because what else can be really illuminating if, again, you're in a situation where maybe your pay isn't where you're wanting it to be, like you've done your homework and you have your personal financial goal and you're not paying yourself as much as you would personally like to make. How about the fact, what if you're paying contractors more than you? What if you're paying your W-2 more than you? What if with overtime they're actually working and making more than you? How does that feel? Does that actually align with what you want to do? Yes or no? And I think all of that to say, we don't know what is appropriate and what is not. But if the data is saying month over month that your team is out earning you and the revenue is growing, like, what is going on? Where is that money going? Finances and how much we're paying the team, that's when we can start to look at some of these other KPIs to really understand, are they living up to those expectations? Yeah, they make more than me, but they save time for me over here. They do this more efficiently. They're getting us more leads. We're converting off of Facebook or whatever. That is why KPIs have to be holistic, so that way we can have that full understanding. But it starts with the financial side. This is the stuff people avoid. If you can't look at your finances, which, by the way, we are looking at the past month when we're having this conversation. I'm a huge fan of doing monthly money dates. I've talked about that really often. KPIs are part of that monthly money date. In this financial conversation, we're looking at cash that was already exchanged. Like, it came in and it went out. We're looking at literally what happened within the last month. And then asking ourselves, is that what we want to replicate next month? So if you start to shift your perspective on the financial side to support tracking this stuff consistently, it's just going to allow you to make cleaner, better decisions. Because when it comes time to letting a contractor go, hiring a new contractor, promoting a W-2, cutting back someone's hours, we don't know if we're not tracking consistently. And my hope for you is that tracking this stuff consistently will help you be more confident when it comes to having to make some of those tough calls that can come up in business. So after finance is handled and profit is the last bucket, then finally that leaves you profit. So you have revenue, you have your costs, you have your taxes, you have me as the business owner, and then you have the rest of your team, contractors, W-2, doesn't matter. And then the leftovers are profit. As a business owner, a small business owner with maybe a couple employees, I think profit can be a great quote unquote bucket for personal development. Maybe you're saving to hire a business coach. Maybe you're thinking about doing a retreat. I think profit can be a great way to start to chip away and save money for that future thing. Maybe profit could be investment, retirement. There's lots of different ways you can repackage the leftovers, that last bucket, to help support the future growth of your business. For me, I love to use that profit bucket for all the stuff I mentioned, for branding, for photography, if I'm getting branding photos done. One thing that is on my to-do is buying a desktop this year. So I'm going to start saving more in my profit account, saving more quote unquote leftovers to then budget to purchase a new desktop cash, definitely. And is it something that I believe I'll get return on my investment? Yeah, because I get more done when I have a bigger screen and I can screen share and all that stuff. And so it's time. I've been doing this entire business from a laptop from the jump. So I think it's time I deserve a desktop. So if I'm going to buy a desktop, why wouldn't I start budgeting for that now? So that way when that bill comes, I'm not like shocked. I've already A, made the purchase decision, and B, the finances are there to support that decision. That is the financial KPIs that I feel like are non-negotiables. Like you, me, everyone and their mom who is in business should track those. Here's where it can get more specific. If you're like, how do I take that and level it up? Maybe you have a storefront. I know for Empower, I also handle the purchases in the back end Power. And on the Empower side of the house, we don't just track overall revenue, but we also have a storefront. We have a brick and mortar where people can rent space and have events and such. So we don't just track revenue of the overall brand. We actually track what is the revenue from our memberships and then what is the revenue from the actual space. And that will tell us over time, where do we need to spend more time marketing? Or where do we get more ROI? We can start to make really good strategic decisions as we continue to track that data. Granted, we just opened February 3rd, so it's still new, but I'm starting to track that data because it's going to be so helpful 3, 4, 5, 6 months from now to see what's working and what's not in the business, and also what makes up a higher percentage of our revenue. So maybe you're in an industry where you have 2 signature offers, and you're wanting to know realistically how much money you're making from each of them. Maybe that's the 2 buckets inside of revenue that you start tracking. Maybe you have a team of commissions hairstylists and you want to know the revenue they're bringing into the business month over month because you have a gut feel that some are underperforming. Maybe you break out their revenue month over month and that's part of your KPI you start tracking. There's so many ways to grow and evolve it and customize it to fit the needs of your life and business and be really supportive to help you make those future decisions. So after finance stuff is handled, I love to hop over to operations. To me, that is, are we doing things well and efficiently? What does well mean? Maybe you're tracking reviews or testimonials you get from clients, like how many 5 stars or how many do you get per month? Maybe you're tracking your time. For me, a big sneaky culprit was that I was spending my time in the wrong places. I was notorious for the like, oh, can I just grab a coffee? Can I just pick your brain? Like my ego loves that. And if I had all the time in the world, I love those kinds of conversations. I do. I really love to problem solve with people. But when I started auditing, like, ooh, here's all the coffee chats I had this month. How many of those converted into something? And when I saw consistently that was not happening, I realized I needed to be pickier about my time. So it actually led to me building Get Shit Done Club, which if you haven't heard is a monthly Zoom I do. It's changing, so I don't want to like pitch it hard and then have you join and be like, what the heck? Get Shit Done Club came because I was auditing my time and doing a lot of coffee chats. So instead of doing like multiple coffee chats every single week, 30 minutes of my time, group call, Zoom, people can just hop on, extra accountability, proximity to me, win, win, win. And I wouldn't have known to build that out had I not started to really audit my calendar. Where's your time going? If you are a leader, how much time is spent actually managing people and not just daily hour-long meetings where you're co-working? That is different than leading and delegating. If you're having to give a lot of guidance, start to audit how much time is being spent with that employee. How long have they been working with you? That may be either an opportunity for you to get better and stronger in your leadership and your delegation skills, or that may be an indicator that employee might be in the wrong role or just not a fit for the company as a whole. But we don't know that if we're not tracking that. So that's another way we can start to look at KPIs under the operational side of the house. Then the last bucket, which I feel like is the most talked about, is marketing. And when I consider marketing, anytime you're talking about your stuff, that's what I consider marketing to be. So I'm asking myself questions like, gosh, what networking events did I go to and what was the ROI of them? Maybe you didn't sell a service, but maybe you met someone who's a strategic referral partner, or maybe you learned something. I was talking about Empower, which is the networking community I co-lead locally here with someone, and I was like, your ROI in Empower, probably not consistent financial ROI. You're probably not consistently getting clients from this community. But how does it make you feel to be a part of a group of women? How does it make you feel to learn alongside women? Are you learning and applying some of the things that you learn? And this person, because they were pro-conning, does it make sense to continue? And it was interesting because initially they were, yeah, I just don't get consistent clientele. They've definitely gotten some clients from this community. And now more people know what this person does. and they're able to articulate it and refer this person very intentionally and strategically. And then that last piece, they were like, yeah, I definitely learn stuff when I come and I just feel supported. And what is the value? What is the price tag of that? When we're looking at ROI, which stands for return on investment, not only financial investment, but like your time, the time you are pouring into things. When we look at that, it's not as simple as, oh, did I book a client? It's like, there's so many other questions we should be asking ourselves. And I think the big thing with this is, are you just being honest with that? Is Empower or a friendship or this coffee date or this cohort you are in, are you getting other benefit from it that is worth your time and money? And if the answer is yes, then do it. Like, great. Love that for you. But I think we just get so black and white sometimes and we cut, and then all of a sudden we're unfulfilled and we're just so money hungry and people can sense it. So all that to say, I see that happening. I know people who are in that boat. And then I know people who network till they're blue in the face and they're burnt out and they're resentful and they're overwhelmed. So I think you have to find the balance that works for you. But ultimately, I think the KPIs can help you reframe what does success look like for these different commitments. So operationally, where your time is going, the efficiency of things, how long something takes, the feedback you're getting from people, how you feel. Like, do you feel like you are doing a good job? Are your clients happy? Are you getting good feedback? Are you getting any feedback? And I think that really covers that side of things. That, to me, the operations also covers the context of the feelings to a point, right? Because again, if your profit's great, if you're making good money and good to you maybe is $20,000 a month or $100,000 a month, it doesn't matter. But whatever good means to you, if that is what's coming in the door, but you're still unfulfilled, we need to dive deeper into that side of the house. Because just because something's working from a number standpoint, but it's robbing you of your joy, is that worth it? I would guess no. And then the last side that I want to talk through is marketing. When it comes to marketing, we are equipped with so much data. When you log into Meta or you open up your Instagram and you go to dashboard, there's so much information. When I'm looking at KPIs for marketing, I want to know, am I posting and putting stuff out in the right places? Is it getting me in front of new people that are a good fit for what I have to offer? And are we converting some of them into my services? That's it. And I think once you break it down that simply, it really can be that simple for your business. So I encourage you, look at, on the marketing side of things, what data is going to help you know that? For me, I need to know what kind of content is getting our brand, our business in front of new people. And that is tracked through follower count. That is also tracked through views currently in the current Instagram world. And specifically views, but what percentage of those views are from my current followers or from non-followers? I'm aiming more for non-followers because if people are seeing my stuff who are new, some of them are going to come over and be like, "Ooh, I like what she has to say. I'm going to go follow her and connect with her." But if the views are just happening in front of my current followers, then I'm just preaching to the choir, man. And at a certain point, you're going to get tired of hearing it, right? And that's a me problem. That means I need to shift my content plan because it's not registering with new people. They're not sharing it. They're not scrolling and stopping. And that's a me problem. Similarly, when I'm looking at content, I'm also looking at what people are commenting. And what kind of content was that? I posted something about deer TikTok and that got a lot of comments on it because there was people who agreed with me. There was people who didn't agree with me. There was people who just liked it because they probably thought it was funny. It was short, didn't have a call to action or anything. Okay, great. A lot of eyeballs saw that and people commented on it. But then what? And that's where we have to ask ourselves the then what question. So for me, it's not enough for you to come over here, say hi, like a post, comment. I'm looking for that full journey of you come over here, you listen to this podcast, you hop over to Instagram, you send me a DM, we're vibing. We have a coffee chat and then you're like, hell yes, I want to do your next program. That to me is the full journey. And I need to make sure I'm tracking data all the way along that journey to reinforce what is working and what is not in my business. So cool that people are engaging in my stuff, but is it the right stuff? If I keep tracking this same data over and over again, and 6 months from now, people are still commenting on my TikTok stuff, and that's what's resonating the most with people, I'm making the wrong stuff for the wrong people in mind. And it doesn't mean I suck or I'm failing. Should that be a reel? Should I focus more on carousels? Do I need to change the topic because I'm connecting with people, but they're not converting? And if they're not converting, I can solve for that problem. That is a sales issue. If I have people who have no clue I exist, that is a marketing problem. And that to me is like the perfect example of KPIs, because if we just say sales are down and we're not tracking the marketing and the operations and the conversion, then we don't know why. And we can't solve for that. Then that's when you're just throwing everything at the wall and hoping something works. And then magically you just make more money this month, but you don't know why and you don't know how to replicate that. That is not the goal here. So that is my quick TED Talk overview of KPIs. I think this is a good place to stop because I could keep going, but I want you to have something that's digestible, which is why I've built a resource specifically for KPIs. Hop over to Instagram. My Instagram is Kelsey Marie Knudsen, and send me a DM that you want to be in the know, in the loop when the KPI stuff comes out. Spoiler alert, it'll be a template with formulas plugged in. It'll be a live Q&A call to kick it off and help make sure any questions around this template are answered. It may or may not also include a monthly Zoom call where we can actually dig in the numbers and talk through it together. I have exciting stuff I'm cooking up for you guys. I just think this KPI stuff can be game-changing. I think it can help you make more strategic and confident decisions. And I want that for you. I want you to have that clarity and that confidence when it comes to running your business, leading a team, and taking everything to the next level. Let's keep the conversation going, and I will see you next week. Hey, thanks for being a part of the Get Shit Done revolution. My hope is this episode sparked a fire in you, equipped you with some practical next steps, or inspired you to take action towards your goals. If it did, please help spread the word by sharing this episode or leaving a review on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you're tuning in. Now it's time for me to hand over the keys and let you get shit done.